Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of this activity for Math CEO we're doing this quarter. In this part, Cuatro Amigos, we're going to introduce combinatorial tables and we're going to practice combinatorial reasoning. You guessed it, it's a counting game. Let's get right into it. So to start off, we have four friends and they each have a different favorite hobby, either dancing, playing sports, reading, or playing video games. So those are your four options. Now, this activity is really good, a really good opportunity to let students tell a story about the activity. So the first part is you want to give a name to each friend and, sort of start coming up with ideas as to what this world looks like. Why are they friends? How'd they meet? All this sorts of things, right? And really encourage students to get into it and to get invested in the sort of the world that they're building here. And speaking of worlds, the next thing to do once you've told your stories is you want to create a table which we're calling a world. And this is just a table to sort of figure out who is doing which sort of hobby, right? And of course, we want to see if we can try to find all possible worlds. So then the question is, how many possible worlds are there? Now, go ahead and pause the video and think for a sec before I reveal the answer. Now, hopefully you got a chance to think about it. The answer is 24. Now, the reason why it's 24 is the tricky part, of course. There's a lot of different ways that we can go about exploring this. Here's the way that I think about it first, right? So when we're filling out this table, we're making choices about who goes into each of these slots, right? So who is first, who is second, who's third, and who's fourth. Because we're replacing the hobby with just like an order. So in the first position, we want to decide who goes there. Well, in the first position, nobody has a hobby yet. So we have 4 choices. So we have 4 choices to pick here. So maybe let's just pick one. Let's pick Carlos can be in the first slot. So his hobby is dancing. Okay. Now, once we pick the first slot, we move to the second one. And now we have 3 choices because we have 3 names remaining. So we have 3 choices. And maybe I'll pick one. Maybe Kriti can have sports. And then so on and so forth. The next slot, position 3, we only have 2 names. We have 2 choices. Maybe I pick Brady. And then lastly, we only have a single choice. And I'll put Jasmine there. And when you multiply 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, you end up with 24. But there's always good to have more than one way and more than one tool to explore a problem like this. So what other tools could you use to count possibilities? Well, you could try to make a sort of table as to all the sort of different orderings, right? This is a really great way if students are super stuck and they don't really know what to do, is just start writing possibilities down, right? So maybe I go like Carlos, Brady, Jasmine, and Akriti. Maybe that's one. And then maybe I'll come up with another one. Maybe I'll do Brady first, and then Carlos, and then Kriti, and then Jasmine. And so on and so forth. So you start just filling out possibilities and start to see if you can see a pattern, right? Another way to sort of start counting these things is you could use a decision tree, right? So at the first step, you can choose to either, for the first hobby, put Jasmine, Akriti, Carlos, or Brady in. So one of these 3. And let's say you pick Akriti. Well, then after that, for the second hobby, you have 3 choices, Jasmine, Carlos, or Brady. If you pick Brady, then you have 2 choices, Jasmine or Carlos. Maybe pick Carlos, and then the last slot has to go to Jasmine. And then the number of ways that you can fill out this slot is going to be the number of leaves of this sort of decision tree. So you could practice doing it that way as well. But really try to think about what is your intuition, what is your way of navigating the problem, and encourage students to explore the problem in a way that makes sense to them. It really will help if you are able to sort of organically foster their own way of engaging with the problem. But these are some places to start if the student is feeling stuck and discouraged. And then there's a second part of this sort of activity where students are going to use this table to come up with their own puzzle. So really sort of creating what they just saw in the first activity. So they're going to come up with their own clues. Some of them have been sort of pre-written here, but there's also, you can use the last slot to come up with your own clues. So you can really encourage students to, go ham and see if they can write some really fun, engaging clues. Can they write clues that have more than one solution? Can they write clues with just one solution? Right? The possibilities are endless. This is a really great open-ended activity.